If you thought about those contracts like a lawyer, that'd be a real superpower. So in this video, I'm going to teach you to spot contracts like a lawyer. I'm going to teach you the elements of a valid contract. I'll give you some examples so you can see the difference between valid contract and not valid contract. And I'll end the video by giving you some really practical, helpful pointers. Lawyers understand that every contract has four necessary elements, and you should be good at spotting these elements because then you'll know whether or not your agreement is binding and enforceable or not. The four elements are number one, offer, number two, acceptance, number three, consideration going both ways, and meeting of the minds. I know that sounds complicated, but I promise some examples will help clear that up. Every contract has to have offer, acceptance, consideration, and meeting of the minds. Let me give you an example of a valid, enforceable oral contract. So, buying a cup of coffee. You walk in and you say, I'd like to order a triple venti, half calf, half fat, extra cream with caramel drizzle and cinnamon. And the cashier says, sure, you got it, and punches it into the computer. And then you give the money, and then there's coffee. Well, you had everything there. You have offer. I'll buy this. You have acceptance. Okay, sir, I'm putting it into my computer. You have consideration. I gave the cashola and the barista gave me coffee. So there was consideration coming both ways. And there was a meeting of the minds. The specifics of the deal were very clear. I know to the penny what's being paid. And I also know exactly what I'm getting. I'm getting the triple venti half calf, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, so there's no confusion. So you have everything: offer, acceptance, consideration, and meeting of the minds. All right, let's do another practice. Let's say I call my wife and I say, don't worry, hun, I'll be home soon. And my wife says, deal. Well, is that a contract? No. I mean, let's run it through. Is there an offer? I guess I'll be home soon. Is there an acceptance? Well, she said deal. Well, what's the consideration? I mean, if I come home soon, I guess that's what I'm giving up on my side. What is she giving up? What am I getting from her? So I think there's a lack of consideration. So probably not enforceable. There's no specificity. So there's probably no meeting of the minds. I mean, it says I'll be home soon, but what does that mean? Does that mean I'm going to leave the office in 5 minutes? What does that mean? There's no meeting of the minds. And there are some really interesting high profile cases dealing with oral contracts. The one that sticks out to me is the one with Adam Carolla. Did you hear about that one? So Adam Carolla and I think it's a friend from high school, like a high school buddy. They stayed friends for a long time, and they got involved in a legal dispute that actually ended their relationship. And it was like a multi-million-dollar dispute. So what happened was, I don't know who came up with the idea first, but one of them came up with the idea to do a podcast. And then the argument from the friend was that Adam orally said that he would cut in the friend to some of the profits and that they would be partners in the podcast venture. And then the podcast ended up taking off, and Adam Carolla made a bunch of money from that. And then he didn't share enough money, according to this buddy. And so they found themselves in court. And ultimately, that case settled outside of court, which is a good thing. I think a lot of cases should settle outside of court. But the moral of the story there is that that's the type of deal that you probably want in writing. If somebody's offering you a business partnership or something like that, even if it doesn't have to be in writing, it probably should be in writing. So you don't have that he said situation about whether or not a contract even existed between the two of you. So those are examples of oral contracts. And like I said, if you understand those elements better, you could have gotten a heck of a lot better deal, wife, in that conversation. Because if you'd said, okay, Isaac, if you leave in the next 5 minutes, I'll give you whatever, a treat. I don't know. That actually could be a binding contract. And having a meeting of the minds and having adequate consideration, those are actually good. Those actually help us relate with one another better. So I told you it'd be a superpower. But not all contracts can be unwritten. Under our law, some contracts must be written. So I'll give you some examples. And these all come from the Texas Business and Commerce Code. I believe the sections are 26.01 and 2.201. The biggest one is dealing with real estate. So almost all transactions in Texas dealing with real estate, they're going to have to be in writing. So whether you've got a purchase contract or a sales contract or a leasing agreement that is for more than 1 year, yeah, that's going to have to be in writing. By the way, this body of law that says what agreements have to be in writing, that's called the statute of frauds. And a lot of this kind of makes sense because sometimes in, maybe a smaller value deal, um, ordering a cup of coffee, those things, we don't need to go through the formality of a written contract. But if you're buying a piece of expensive real estate, if you're setting up agreements to do things way into the future, you can't have he said, she said in those kinds of deals. That really must be in writing, which is why those laws exist. So here are some really practical, helpful pointers. Number one, if you're dealing with a big money deal or something that's really consequential, just get it in writing. Even if you can have a valid oral contract, it's probably not the time. Just get it in writing. And I say that because you don't want to find yourself having difficulty in proving that there really was valid offer, acceptance, consideration, and meeting of the minds. So to not have to worry about whether or not you can prove it, if you put it in writing, you have it all down on paper. Number two, and this is like in the examples we saw, so many agreements are really not valid agreements because the people weren't specific enough. They were too vague. So if you're going to do a contract, particularly an oral contract, be specific. Don't say, I'll be home soon. To have a valid contract, you would say, I'll leave the office in 5 minutes to head home. If you do have to do an oral contract and you're not going to do a written contract for whatever reason, think about how you can preserve evidence. Can you get a witness? Can you use some context like backing things up with a text or photos or something like that that can prove that there actually was an agreement? And lastly, if it's really complicated, just get a lawyer because I can't tell you how many times clients of mine have been pleasantly surprised at how little it costs to get a lawyer. And let me tell you this, everybody loves to hate on lawyers until a lawyer would be helpful to them. So, sure, there are sharky lawyers and there are lousy people, just like in any field. But honestly, there are a lot of really good lawyers. And like I said, people are pleasantly surprised when they come for help that things, especially like a basic contract, they're not that expensive. They don't take that long. They're not that complicated and you'd feel a lot better. So by watching this video, you've gained some new lawyer superpowers, at least when it comes to contracts. Now you know how to think like a lawyer when it comes to your everyday agreements. And I hope you'll remember offer, acceptance, consideration, and meeting of the minds.